The best of the week on Relevant Radio. The best of the week on Relevant Radio.
And for those who are in marriage, when I hear, I had a call, and I in the studio with me, by the way, let me welcome him right now, is Doug Hinderer. He is the host of Marriage Unhindered. Doug, I had a call during the Chapel of Divine Mercy. And calls from cancer to finance, right? It doesn't matter what's in there. And one really resonated with me, and I will be praying for this man. I don't know how many years you've been married. It's 30 plus, or are you beyond that?
Oh, yeah. No, we're at 46.
Wow, holy cow. Mm-hmm. You don't look old enough to be married for 46 years. You're married young.
Right out of college.
I love it. Good for you. Yeah. So this guy says, hey, I'm married 32 years, and beautiful kids, and we've got grandkids coming away. His wife went through menopause. Yeah. And suddenly the marriage grew cold, and she wants out. He says, I think she's having an affair. And I thought maybe we could take a look at falling out of love today, maybe falling out of connection. And, when marriages, fall into trouble, a lot of people assume something dramatic. Maybe it's the affair, maybe it's a financial crisis, maybe it's a betrayal. And it could be that for this situation. I don't know all the details. He knows it better than me, but more than often, marriages don't collapse over just one catastrophic event. Right. They weaken slowly, quietly, almost imperceptibly, and the husband becomes preoccupied at work, or the wife becomes consumed with family responsibility, and next thing you know, they don't know one another. Before long, the two people couldn't wait, at one point to spend every minute together. Now they're like, geez, who is this person? I don't really want to be around them. And it's funny because I was reading earlier today before you came on that there was a marriage researcher who found that emotional distance, they say, often develops years before a couple ever talks about divorce.
Yep.
And they found that thriving couples consistently respond to one another's small bits for connection, attempts to communicate, share, laugh, do that type of thing. So couples who ignore those opportunities, you're going to be living with a stranger under your roof before you know it. Take us through this.
Yeah. So exactly. And, we get focused on managing life, the careers, paying the bills, mowing the lawn, doing the laundry, raising the kids. We take our eye off of each other. But I can always get back to you later, right? Because you're around. You're not going anywhere. Okay, so I can focus on all this other stuff. And then, we get into our gray-haired years, and all of a sudden I don't know you anymore. And the kids are gone, and I still have a lot of good years left in me. I don't even know who you are, and the parts about you I do know. We argue and fuss. We not get along. And then maybe sometimes I meet somebody else, or I just say, well, there's got to be somebody better out there. I'm going to go, and see what I can find. But I agree that the marriage starts dying long before it actually dies. And it's a slow, imperceptible thing. But we slowly stop doing it. And it's the little things. And if you don't take care of the little things, that's what will kill you. And one of my favorite Gottman quotes is, in marriage...
That was Gottman who actually said that, too. That's interesting. Dr. John Gottman.
Yeah, Gottman. He's the guru. In marriage, the little things are really big. And, I've learned a lot about marriage by watching some YouTube videos by divorce lawyers. Because, they're really, right, they're right in the crosshairs of it, right?
Yeah, that's their money.
And I was listening to this one guy, and this woman came in, was going to divorce her husband. And he said, well, when did you know when it was over? And she said, it was the granola. He said, the granola? She's like, yeah. She said, I got this one kind of granola I really like, and it's only sold at one specialty store in town. And whenever the jar would get low, all of a sudden, miraculously, there'd be a new box there. And my husband would see it. He'd go off. He'd buy it for me. He'd put it in the pantry, And one day, I went to the pantry, and the box was empty. And I thought, well, he's been busy. He probably just forgot. But she said, it never came back. And he stopped doing that little thing. And that's when I knew that his heart had turned elsewhere. Yeah. So it's the little things like just buying some granola. But, man, the little things tell a really big story. And so, one of the morals of the story is you got to pay attention to the little things, the little acts of kindness, please and thank you. And, I was in the checkout counter at the grocery store. I saw the bag of M&Ms. Here, I bought you some M&Ms. Well, that's a big deal, A buck worth of M&Ms is a really big deal.
But what are some practical steps that couples can employ to maybe reconnect? Because it's such a lopsided, one-sided type of thing. When one couple's out, you just feel powerless.
Yeah, right. I will say this. It's not a direct answer to your question, but But one of the most powerful things a couple can do to protect their marriage is to go to confession regularly. Make sure you're in a state of grace. Because if you're not in a state of grace, the door is wide open for Satan to keep whispering in your ears. And Satan's favorite trick is to get you to focus on your spouse's defects. And he just keeps needling and needling and needling. All of a sudden, this little bitty defect becomes a really big thing, right? And I tell you, when I start working with a couple, if they're both Catholic, after the very first session, I say, I want to encourage you both to go to confession. And I'm not saying you need it. I'm just saying let's make sure there's nothing getting in the way of all the grace that's available through the Holy Spirit and the sacrament of matrimony to heal your marriage. And let's do that. And I've had couples come back to me and say, Doug, it'd been 20 years, 30 years since we'd been to confession. We did it. We were scared to death. We were nervous. We did it. It was a great experience. We haven't had an argument since. Well, there you go. Yeah. Thank you. That'll be double, please, because I'm one session and I fixed your marriage. We underestimate the value of confession in protecting a marriage.
Yeah. Healthy marriages have confrontation. I mean, healthy
Every
marriage doesn't mean that you don't have conflict, right?
No. And in fact, the Gottman's research shows that 69% of the conflict you and your wife have is perpetual. You're not going to resolve it. It's just because you're flawed, she's flawed, you got your interests and likes different from hers. You're going to have conflict, normal, natural. It's not conflict that harms marriages. It's conflict avoidance. So we got a conflict. It's my cross to bear. I'm not going to talk about it. It builds a build. So it comes out like Mount Vesuvius. And then we got this big, So
it's such a personality, I guess, deficit for some people when they internalize things. That's just personality for some people.
For some, yeah.
I'm very verbal, so I would probably express myself, but a lot of people will take it. And I know one woman who gets mad at her husband. Right, he's at work, he comes home, and she's in the kitchen doing her thing, and she's fuming because her husband and her son are sitting there. They're watching some movie or sports or whatever it is, right? And she's trying to get dinner ready, and she needs help or whatever it is. And my wife said to the person, said, "Well, did you tell them?" And she just sits there and she internalizes it. I'm like, that's not healthy.
It's not healthy.
It's just not healthy. You got to express that type of stuff.
That was the best of the week on Relevant Radio. The best way to listen to the best of the week is on the Relevant Radio app. Free and always free. Download and share the #1 free Catholic app today in the App Store.